I think it's so easy for us to overcomplicate our faith. Sometimes we believe the lie that we need to be much more than who we are or do much more than what we're doing. In our faith, in our worship, is what God actually expects from us. And I think I learned that lesson from my own sister. Abby is my sister, and she was born with Down syndrome. You know, when I was growing up, if I'm honest, I had a bit of a complex relationship with how I tried to relate with her. On one hand, I was the classic overprotective older brother. On the other hand, actually, if I'm honest, you know, growing up as a teenager, I didn't always think it was cool to be next to her. She would often be singing very loudly in church. If you know anyone with Down syndrome, you would know that there's nothing down about them. One of the worship pastors in my church was noticing one day during a time of worship that Abby was just worshiping God without any sense of restriction or self-consciousness. She just kept her hands up and she just sang, mostly out of tune. As he watched her singing, he felt like the Lord was speaking to him, saying that Abby's praise means so much more to me than well-tuned, perfectly arranged singing that sometimes you make to me. You know, Abby's praise doesn't sound very good, you know, to the human ear, but it's a beautiful melody to God. And I think sometimes we are so tempted by the complexity of how we should live out our faith. We tend to think that we need to be much more than what we are doing. But God just expects the simple heart, a heart that just worships Him, you know, in a spirit of truth. And if you can bring whatever you have as it is, sometimes it may just be a sigh. Sometimes it may just be, you know, a breath. Sometimes the words fail you and it's just a posture of desperation to God. I think the Lord's in it, you know, and He honors that kind of worship, a worship that comes from the heart.